Okay, another day. Hmm. Kind of woke up not too long ago. Thought I'd record something real quick. Um, whatever's on my mind. I figure, it's easier to do these things when I first get up because usually when I first get up, I reach for my phone. So why not put in a recording? Okay, well, decisions. That's what's on my mind today. Um, Trying to carve out your future. Some people say, how much control do you really have? People say, go try to make a plan and watch a guy laugh. Um, but I would tend to think that we have some control. I would tend to think that we have some power over our future for some people, I guess. I don't know. That's a rabbit hole question in itself. But decisions. Is it as easy as hanging around your parents if you have them? You know, some people just have one parent. Some people have no parents. Some people have grandparents but no parents. Some people have parents but no grandparents. But let me just talk for a second here and just kind of go forward with whatever's on my mind and say, like, thinking about this, parents. I remember when I was growing up, like 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And I watch these shows and they'll say, oh, daddy issues. They'll say she has daddy issues, or they say, or like there'll be a movie, or whether it's reality television, fiction television, or real life. I'll see therapists, psychologists talk about the parents. Like if they're evaluating a patient, they say they would usually start with their parents, their upbringing. So if they don't have if they don't have no parents, they'll start with that, their upbringing. And it made sense because that's the beginning, right? So they're trying to reverse engineer uh, the patient. I don't even know where I'm going with this, but I'm just saying, like, I can see why somebody might want to start there, because what I was about to say a couple of seconds ago was the parents. Is life just about following your parents? I mean, of course not, right? Like if you look at Jeff Bezos, one of the richest men in the world, I think they said his father was like some type of entertainer or something like that. Again, who knows the truth, but his father lived a very basic life, and Jeff Bezos obviously didn't. So he didn't follow his parents. Um, Bill Gates somewhat followed his parents, so that's one example there. Elon Musk somewhat, I guess, followed his parents, being a technologist. But again, I guess some people do, some people don't. I guess there's not really much of a correlation or pattern there, but the whole concept of how to live your best life. Well, again, I'm just going off the top of my head, so I don't really know. I could say something crazy, but I mean, one would say living your best life means, kind of knowing what means the most to you. What are some of the things, obviously, if you can't pinpoint one or there's more than one, what are some of the things that means the most to you? Some people usually say family, money, health. Um, I don't know. It's just kind of weird sometimes because it's like sometimes you might feel like you have so much control or power, in the same time you might feel like you don't. So like for example, if you're kind of contemplating moving, it's like, okay, do I move or do I don't? I think most people don't, right? If they don't have to, they don't, right? Usually, it could be the potential you could move to something potentially better, new environment, new things, but people say like, okay, it could turn out worse. Why take the risk? Especially if you don't have a lot of disposable income, or if you're not moving to a place where you feel like you can get help. It's like if you have some friends, or you have people in the community that know you, and you have family not too far away, why would you want to move? I mean, to a place that you think might be better as far as like entertainment or weather, whatever. Like, let's say if you live like in Ohio, and you got your community, some friends and family nearby. Why would somebody want to move to California? Well, obviously, California has supposedly good weather, has usually higher paying jobs. I mean, if you're a man, they usually have, they say, thanks to the entertainment business, that usually there's more attractive people in California. So some people might say, okay, look, I don't have no friends or family over there, but it has the things I like more money, entertainment, just, more of a diverse culture, more, you know, etc. So do you move if you can? Or do you think it's too risky because you don't know if you can hang? You don't want to move somewhere, go in debt, or blow your savings and then come back a year later and now your savings are gone. It's just, again, I'm pretty sure, you sat down, it might be a way for you to really try to figure it out. And then it's going back to some of the stuff I talk about to make decisions, like statistics. What is the probability that you will like the decision? What is the probability that you'll succeed? What is the probability of whatever? Because you don't want to make the wrong decision, right? Obviously, no one really knows the future, but we have this consciousness that we're supposed to, I guess, use so we can come up on top. Again, I don't know where this is going. I just wanted to say, like, I don't know. Well, what I was about to say is, do most people regret big decisions? Obviously, you have people like Kanye West, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg. These people, whether their idea or not, they went big, right? Even if they're not really in control and they're just the face or whatever, but they went big. And the question kind of is like, again, I don't want to go in circles, but I'm saying, you have to think like, do most people who make big decisions, if you look at like the human race, people who make big decisions, I don't know, do they regret it? Again and again, even whatever that answer is, does not mean that that should apply to your specific life, your specific decision, your specific case. I'm just like, sometimes, you look around, like, how much power do I really have? How much how much control can I possibly take of my life? Like, as I sit here, what can I really do? Like, how many options do I really have? What is the limits, right? It's like all these things to test. How can you test these things? What's your happiest existence? Ups and downs, really. Because, like for instance, let's say if I was to move to Hawaii, I would think that it might be stressful because moving there far away, you'll learn, but you don't know the lay of the land. The rent prices, what's up with that? Furniture. I'm sure you could just have an apartment with no furniture. It's just again, and that's basics. So much other stuff that kind of takes people out the game or puts people on. That's what I'm saying. Like, in a world where you don't know what can happen next, I mean, there's probabilities of a high rate of things that happened yesterday happening again today, similar. But there's so many times in life where it seems like day to day is almost the same, and then there's those days that are totally not the same. Like, I remember having days where I'd be like, wow, yesterday was not just another day. I would wake up the next day and I'd be like, wow, yesterday was not just another day. Yesterday could have been a pivotal moment. It's like if you wake up the day after you open the letter of acceptance to MIT University. It's like it's like it's like okay, you was in high school and it felt like maybe day to day was almost the same, and then boom, yesterday was the day that you found out you was accepted to MIT. It's like again, you was going day to day, maybe most of the part felt the same, and then boom, there's those days that are pivotal moments. You know, again, so much obviously. Again, again, I don't know who I'm making this for. Maybe nobody, but I'm saying, there's those days where maybe you found out your girlfriend, wife, fiance, whatever is pregnant. You wake up the next day, you kind of feel like it was day to day. You had your relationship, and then boom, yesterday you found out that you're becoming, you're coming to be a future father. Again, those are just another situation where it's like, okay, you have your day to day, then there's the days that are boom, there are pivotal moments. And I look at I don't know if this is true. I'm just looking. I could probably find a bunch of things to say that this is not true, but I would say that for people who don't have a lot of surplus of capital, for people who don't have a lot of disposable income, for people who don't have a high net worth, it would seem like for those people, taking the least amount of risk on average might be the smartest thing to do. It just seems like people who, I don't know if this is true, could be wrong, but it just seems like people who don't have a lot of money, if they try to take too many chances, like too many big moves, it might hurt them. They might end up getting in a debt rut and they never really get out the debt, right? Because think about it. If you're in debt, that means you might need more money than what you're making to get out of it, possibly. But the fact that you wasn't making the money is what kind of landed you, for most people, in debt. So it might be a hole that some people just don't get out of, and then it could end up compromising every decision they make afterwards. Like a bad credit score or whatever. So that's why I like stuff like, if possible, if you plan it out correctly, statistically, I like stuff that's like, what is a big decision that can drag all the other decisions with it in a positive way? So, for example, if you get a scholarship, obviously this is easy, but if you get a scholarship to go to MIT, that's a decision that's going to drag a whole lot of decisions with it. Because you'll have to be at MIT on campus, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's kind of like that one decision is kind of taking care of a lot of stuff. Like, for instance, when it comes to food, it's like, okay, whatever MIT has, cafeteria, friends, girlfriends. Like, okay, choose from the litter of other students at MIT. You know, you're obviously going to be learning knowledge. Hopefully, So again, you're taking care of your food, your shelter, your clothes, whatever you're bringing with you, your friends, your family you already have. You might be moving away from your family to go to school, but again, the MIT is kind of dictating where you're going to live. You're going to choose what you're going to learn. You're going to, have your friends and whatever there at the campus. So it's like sometimes I think, okay, if you're trying to make a decision or whatever, what's the decision that can carry along so much other decisions in a positive manner? You know. So some might say, like, first is for, like, let's say Japan, for example. If you feel like, again, there's so many things that's unseen that you might not even have the knowledge to calculate. But and I remember that when I bought my car, I bought my BMW, and I just it was a beautiful car, beautiful, still is beautiful. They don't even make it like that, V8 engine and just strong, nice. Everybody, the rims, everything, got a lot of compliments. But I remember when I first bought it, and then pretty much by like the first, second, third month, I was, again, I didn't have no experience in buying big luxury vehicles. There was so much extra cost that I didn't factor in, and I mean, some could say it definitely had its goods and bads, ups and downs, but some could say it ended up being a nightmare. I overcame it. My goodness, I know it. Shucks, like, oof, all glory goes to the Lord. But I overcame it. But wow, it was like a nightmare trying to afford it. I paid it off and sold it, but it was something. It was definitely something. Just like usually it's a lot easier getting in something, whether it be a car situation. It's a lot easier getting in something than out of it. That's how most people feel with their debt. I'm just saying, like, and again, not to be everywhere with this, but sometimes again, they'll probably be broken, but sometimes having some golden rules is important, like things that will help you not fall, right? Like, you look at some ways how people kind of mess up their life. If you have some golden rules, so you don't end up like that or whatever, that might help. Like, it could just be as simple as just try not to be in huge debt. Obviously, one, two, three, four, 5 grand, it's not a problem. Like, if you're in your 30s, and all you have is, you know, 4 or 5 grand in debt, that's probably doable. But even then, that's the max, right? Because 5 grand is still a lot of money. You might not be able to make that. So it's like you don't want to go too much more than that because you might never get out of it. And some people, they handle it they handle it in strive. Like, they're in 80,000 debt. Some are in, like, over 100 grand in debt, and they just deal with it. They're like, okay, it's just part of life. You have to borrow. So I guess you gotta do what works for you. You know what? I think that maybe where I would kind of end it, doing what works for you, what serves you. Obviously, that's a lot harder. If you have, I don't want to say a lot harder, but I'm saying obviously it could be more dicier if you have a family. 'Cause you can't just do what works for you. You got to factor in your partner, the kids. Got to factor in a lot of stuff. So that's why sometimes, again, you got to really, it can end up being a long conversation because you go your whole life trying to figure out what works best for you. And then you grow up, and then if you have a family or even just a partner, you have to now figure out you have to figure out someone what works best for you and the other people. And that could be some, that could be a situation where it's just like, is that can almost be almost a waste of time, right? Like, like, you know, who's the leader? because I don't know. I mean, obviously there might be times where everybody wants the same thing, and that's great. But if there's a time where maybe you might want something, your partner might want something, and the kids might want something, you know, it's like again, usually it's like, you know what, one way or another, you know, or maybe not. But I was about to say one way or another, a decision has to be made, you know, or usually time or life will make a decision, or somebody else will make a decision for you. So if you're having pressure making decisions in life, I would say seek help. Maybe seek people who've done it before, learn off of other people's life lessons, and seek people who are smarter than you, faster, stronger, richer, wiser, whatever that is, and pray about it if you don't have nobody. Ask the Lord. Peace.